Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Good. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. So in my time zone, I'm still in the morning. I'm in Thailand this week. My name is Jonas, and together joining me with Paul and David, we are here to welcome you to our APJ community soft launch. So since 138 of you sign up, and many of you may not have met some of us before, I think we should do a quick intro and something fun. So I work for Pegasystems. I lead the awesome solution consulting team. We call them pre-sales and SCs here. And one fun thing about me is I'm going to learn to do something this year that Paul is so good at, which is snowboarding. I've paid a ton of money to go to Japan end of the year. You can go both ways, Paul. So I might need some tips from you. That's a little bit about me. What about you, Paul?
Something fun. So my name is Paul Baptist. I look after the SE team for Alteryx. And Alteryx, many people may not have heard of Alteryx before. It's just basically an analytics automation organization. But I've been a pre-sales person for 20 plus years now. But I actually look way younger than Jonas. So that's why some people don't believe me when I tell this story. Something fun for me to do is hopefully if I work out where Jonas is going for his snowboarding lessons, I'm going to follow him in the back, get video, and then share it with everyone. Yeah, I think that would be fun. No. For me, I'm actually trying to get more and more certified in the analytics world. I don't come from the analytics space, but it's been really interesting to me. So I just got my third certification, fourth actually. And so there's like a couple more that I'm going to try to push for this year. And like, who knows, maybe I'll end up doing learning some really cool stuff, which I can share with everyone. David, your turn.
Awesome. So yeah, Dave Centellis, I'm an enterprise architect. So I'm in pre-sales at Workday. And Workday is about HCM, so human resource management systems, as well as financial management systems. We also do some employee surveys. Fun things about me, look, I'm not quite the skier that these lads are, and I haven't tried snowboarding at all. All I remember is the pizza shape thing where you're going down the hill and you have to do pizza. Just to try to slow down. But look, fun thing about me, I do enjoy chess. I love playing chess. And I used to play professionally when I was a kid back in high school. So that was a lot of fun and really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's me. Jonas?
Awesome. Let's move on to the next slide. I want to start by saying thank you. And I want to thank two groups of people specifically. First is, again, to Paul and Dave, thank you for enduring me for the past 1 year, for allowing me to be part of your team. We have a lot of fun just thinking of ideas of how to energize the pre-sales team. The second group obviously will be the attendees over here. So these are some of the hand-chosen pictures that I have. We have run all the events across different cities in APJ. One thing you'll find here is Paul is pretty much in every single picture. I don't know why, including Singapore. But one thing we did try out something different in Singapore is we had this SC Leaders Forum. I want to thank Bendu. He was the host for us running, and we want to do more of that. That came up with a lot of good feedback. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. We want to do more and more of this. Next slide, please. So a lot of people might be asking, what exactly is PreSales Collective? And as a self-respecting pre-sales, I've got to ask ChatGPT. So if you click on it one more time, Dave, ChatGPT actually doesn't know what pre-sales collective, which is fine, which is why I'm here to tell you all about what we do. So if you go on to the next slide, what pre-sales collective is basically is a community of more than 8,000 members. So if you are pre-sales solution architects, value engineers, technical consultants.
Just be a tone.
Whoa.
No. Yes.
Maybe you can mute if you're not speaking. So if you're part of this team, you are welcome as part of the pre-sales collective. And if you go on to the next slide, we have a very humble but very bold vision. Like Paul, I have been in the pre-sales business for almost 20 years. And this is really passionate for three of us because we're on a mission to elevate the role of pre-sales. And we want to create a global community so that people can come and learn from each other, as well as just to also value add and coach one another. So give you one statistics, right? According to a study by McKinsey, companies that invest in pre-sales can increase their revenue growth by up to 30%. So for Richard, if you're thinking about pre-sales, don't think anymore. This is a road that you absolutely should take it up. Next slide, please. And what are some programs that we have for you? So if you haven't signed up yet, please go to presalescollective.com. Sign it up, it's free. You will get access to webinars like this, a Slack community, and there's a whole bunch of enablement resources for very new to very seasoned SCs that you can put on. And we also look for people who can help mentor and coach the younger SCs that's in this community. And lastly, the next slide, we're also looking at areas to grow the leadership as well. So this is a plug for the PreSales Collective team. We are looking to gather interest in August to run our first Leader Elevate program based in Singapore. So I'm not sure how many of you have attended the one in Sydney last year, or
well, Sandra's online, so I don't know.
Oh, Sandra, love for you to
put you on a
tell
spot.
a couple of, yeah, put me on a spot. Tell us what was the experience like? What did you pick up from there?
Look, hey everyone, I'm Sandra. I lead the pre-sales team here at ClickUp. But yeah, it was amazing. Just like meeting other pre-sales leaders for 2 days, going through some of the challenges as a new leader that we're kind of like going through. I probably love the hot seats the most, like just being in a hot seat and yeah, responding and trying to respond to like common situations and just learning from all of the other people. Like Tom Benton was in the room. He has over 20 years of pre-sales experience. So yeah, it was just amazing being there. So I highly recommend it.
Thanks, Sandra.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sandra. And what I've also learned, because I spoke to some of the attendees and Tom himself, the program is different because a lot of which is based on practice and role plays. So as you know, there's one thing on theory, a big difference when it comes to do role playing. So this is a program that I like to push for all the leaders. Register your interest here. I will put a link in the chat. It will come at a cost. We're still working on the cost, but register your interest. We will figure out what is the best cost for us. All right. With that, I'm going to pass it over to you, David, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Jonas. Just trying to find how to mute that person. Does anybody have host access? Can you mute that person?
Don't think I do. I was trying. Hey, Jerica. Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Jonas, did you want to cover this?
Oh yeah, one more last thing. So you've seen the formal pictures of Paul, David, and I. We decided, look, we're actually quite cool people. So we decided to have a picture of all Sunnies. But on a more serious note, we are looking for volunteers. So we have friendly ambassadors in Brisbane, in Singapore, in Tokyo. And the roles are very simple, really to help organize events, logistics, bring people together. Got to have the same passion in lifting the spirit of the SC. So for anyone who's looking to join us, we're looking for volunteers in Sydney. Please reach out to us. India is a good one. I don't think we have someone. Do we have anyone in India, Paul?
We do. There is an actual PreSales Collective group run just for India.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're on the Slack channel and you go to the India channel, like they have their own group. But of course, I mean, like India is still part of Asia Pacific, so everyone's invited and to anywhere. But while we're on the topic of India, Jonas, Anush asked whether there might be a Leader Elevate program for India. Do you know like how Anush might be able to help organize that or bring Tom out there? Do you have any tips around that?
I don't remember we have, but Anush, I will touch base with you separately because we are still gathering interest. This is something that's taken off really big in US and Europe. We are piloting different parts of APJ. We need people to do that. So Anush, I took note of your question. I'll reach out to you separately to look at it. So for those of you who is keen to volunteer, please reach out to myself and Paul. We speak to you and we select the best person for the role. I'd like to also welcome the ambassadors who are on this call. I think Michelle, JR, you're on the call. If you are, please drop the mute and say hello, say a few words.
Hey, all. JR here from Exxon. I am very happy to finally get some further traction, getting the name out there, getting more folks involved in the community. It's an honor.
Hey, JR, you knew we would both do that at exactly the same time, right? It was guaranteed. So, hi everyone, I'm Michelle Farrick. I'm from Infor. I'm really excited to be involved this year. I sat in the background in the sidelines last year, so really looking to be involved and get out and meet a lot of you in person across the year.
Brilliant. Steph and Asahi, I'm not sure if they are around.
Asahi's not on the call, but she'll be
Okay,
watching.
Steph probably not as well. But thank you, to the team, Michelle, JR. Looking forward to your partnership. Let's make this a great success. So with that, I think that should be me. And I'm going to pass it over to Dave.
Thanks, Jonas. Look, essentially, this is a brief segment. It's about 15 minutes. I wanted for us to ask ourselves a question. What did the solution engineer look like back in the day? How does it compare to now? And how could it possibly look moving forward? So, look, let's flash back, shall we? Who remembers the 90s here? I think a lot of people may have been in school, or a lot of people may have been already working in IT, maybe even already working in pre-sales. So back then, Game Boys were all the rage, and the first real dive into complex handheld gaming had begun. Music came on tape. A few people that I've met haven't seen tape before, so that's been very interesting. And I think that there's been a bit of neon, and that was all as a carryover from the 80s. But also, this absolute masterpiece of a trilogy was finalized. I love this trilogy. I have so much passion for it. It got me through all my sick days when I was in school, and I'd always watch it. So this masterpiece was released, and you'd spend your time playing arcade games. This is what I used to play. I'm sure other people played different arcade games. Or you tried to keep your Tamagotchi alive, if you remember that. Those were the days. And apparently a few of these with alive Tamagotchis are still floating around to this day. But at this point, pre-sales was starting to build into a very real career opportunity. But what did pre-sales look like back then? Essentially, you'd be sitting in a room with your sales rep. You pretty much had a one-to-one alignment. The customer would ask you questions, and the sales exec would be like, okay, Dave, what do you think about that? If it was quite a tough question, so they would deflect to you often, but you were often quite muted in the meetings. You're expected to know absolutely everything about the product, every word in the manual of your software stack or hardware stack, you pretty much needed to know. In fact, you probably helped write some of that manual on the product. Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, I'm not sure if many people know of that, the MCSE. Well, that was pretty much mandated for most solution engineers back then, or pre-sales, as well as some sort of knowledge in Novell NetWare systems. So that takes a few of us back as well. You're sometimes asked to stay behind to help solve some technical issues in server rooms or data centers. That often resulted in you working in those environments until about 4 a.m. And that's when the traditional midnight expensed pizza was born in IT. So if you hear people talking about the pizza in a data center, like that's what they're talking about. The sales rep needed to give your manager 2 weeks notice before any meeting and brief you beforehand. It was very formal, the process of engagement. You'll sometimes use the services, and oftentimes it turned out to be mostly used for services. And the sales rep led every deal and had all the say on how to handle that deal and what to demo, which was quite interesting back then. But with great power came great responsibility. So unfortunately, salespeople had a turnover that was frequent, and there were lines floating around the organization, such as, you can't miss your number 2 quarters in a row. Rarely this would spill over to pre-sales, but sometimes pre-sales would have a round of redundancies, and that would be annual, if not every 2 years, if you were in a good, profitable company. We were usually called systems engineers back then. In an organization of 50 to 100 pre-sales, only 1 or 2 of us got to go to President's Club. And this was almost always based on your percent achievement. We didn't really have a voice back then. We didn't have any focus on soft skills. But how has it evolved since then? So this is what we call today a very reactive style of pre-sales. This reactive style of pre-sales is pretty much the default with a lot of organizations today if they haven't invested in building their pre-sales organizations. Moving from the 90s, we then move on to the 2000s. So what did that look like? In the 2000s, we had a push on product-focused selling with improvement on being heard, proof of concepts, marketing events, and presentations. Towards the mid to late 2000s, this is where soft skills started to become important. And by that, we mean acting skills, presenting skills, selling skills and techniques, rapid rapport building skills. You were often asked to present in interviews when you were going for pre-sales positions. Specifically,
Hey, Jericho. You might need to mute. Yeah, thank you.
So you're often asked to present in interviews, specifically in the interview part. So you'd have to get up in the technical interview part, you'd have to get up and do a whiteboard. Then we got to the 2010s and value-based selling was all the rage, talking to customers about specific value to add to their organization, side by side with the sales rep, instead of led completely by the sales rep. Equal talking time in meetings and engagement with value management teams became the norm. We became more closely aligned with marketing, doing many events and presenting at them, setting up demos at the booths and engaging with customers rapidly to try to build the ROI for that event. It's here where companies started implementing industry alignments where it made sense. And this would usually trickle down to pre-sales from the assignment to the sales executive. Requests for proposals or RFPs were common, and you as pre-sales really learned to shore up your writing skills as much as possible working with newly formed teams, like bid management teams. Then the 2020s hit. And it was quite the mix because of COVID, there's quite the mix of video conferencing and trying to build that rapid rapport over Zoom and over Teams. And also the video conferencing companies had to really catch up to help make that engagement compelling. But what I found is that the 2020s was really split into salesy pre-sales. And by that, we mean fully taking responsibility for your sales number, and then techie pre-sales, usually compensated on like a group number. Essentially, entrepreneurial pre-sales was born, and value in in-depth technical expertise as a separate role from pre-sales was found, usually known as specialists. And you may have specialists in your company, you may be a specialist yourself. What is entrepreneurial pre-sales and how did it come about? So in the 2020s, we saw the birth of the side hustle. During this period, everywhere you looked, you were encouraged to build your side business as a side to your main career. This rarely ended up creating a significant income. Usually it got you enough side money for a coffee once a week. And I'm sure there's exceptions to this, but on the whole, this is how it ended up. What this taught you, though, was golden. How to apply this new thinking to my job in pre-sales. I have my number or quota or target or group target. How do I hit or achieve this number? How do I help my rep hit this number? How do I contribute heavily to assist the group in hitting this number? At which point you added to your kit bag, which already had customer meetings, proof of concepts, presenting at marketing events, new ideas and concepts focused around you as an individual or as the owner of your business. What events can I build and execute? How can I fund this internally? How do I get buy-in from different parts of the business to make this happen? What pipeline build will this produce? What effect will this have on my number? No, wait, on my business. Pre-sales will finally add revenue it created to the revenue produced by marketing and sales. And conversely, technology deep down got a lot more complex. And the ever-driving demand for simplicity for customers and end users, specifically in security and coding. As coding got easier and open source took hold, you had to know how to do some low-code stuff as pre-sales, depending on your stack. Understand virtual machines and containers, Docker this, Java that. As your stack got complex and then the portfolio broadened, you couldn't possibly stay deep across it all without years of investment. This is where technical specialists were used by pre-sales in sales motions to achieve the results, to have questions answered and problems solved. You had your security expert, your code expert, your infrastructure expert, and your cloud infrastructure expert, and many, many more. Often called in by pre-sales, as pre-sales stepped up and managed the opportunity from a technology perspective side by side with the sales rep. Pre-sales would own the technology strategy, what to demo and when, and then bring in the right specialists for the workshops to make it happen and get that tick in the box. So look, not all organizations will benefit from these different types and styles of pre-sales. It depends on the products and the capabilities and the workforce population. And by that, I mean, if you're in a startup, you may find yourself having to sell as well as to implement. But there may be opportunities today for you to reflect on your own organization. Where are you right now? Do any of these other pre-sale styles look like they could suit better? Could I drive this in my own organization? Has my organization neglected soft skills training or hiring? Change is not easy, but bit by bit you can get there, often with excellent results. But what does the future hold? Well, 2020 plus, there's a few schools of thoughts, and some say pre-sales might blend into the one role with sales and maintain an in-depth specialist technical team for the tough situations. Some say that using generative AI like ChatGPT will be huge in our roles moving forward. And this is where we move on to talk about generative AI. How can generative AI help us in our roles? A few cases we've personally seen. So myself, I presented to customers, and I've been able to show with ChatGPT the security impact that the newer generation of hackers and attacks are having on corporations today. Paul's use of ChatGPT has been to generate questions for Kahoot, and we're going to see those questions later on in Kahoot, aren't we, Paul? Yeah, lots of nodding. And Jonas, in his role, has been using ChatGPT significantly for research purposes. And also, I've used it for answering questions on comparing companies, and even to try to keep my company honest. You know, how does Workday compare with, say, SuccessFactors or Oracle or some of the other competitors? You know, how do they compare? What are the pros and cons really to help me in my role? So what I like to do is open up for about 5 minutes and see if you've used ChatGPT or a generative AI in your pre-sales motion, and what did you do? And maybe in just a few lines, if you could just share that with the group. Has anybody used ChatGPT before in a pre-sales motion? No? Not at all.
Some good answers from the chat. Research, automation, automating code.
Yeah. Oh, automating code. Very nice. Okay.
Using Gamma to create presentations. I got to do that. That's new for me.
Using what?
Using Gamma.app to create presentations. Generate email responses to AE. I think I like this the best.
Generating LinkedIn post comments.
Love that, Ross.
To write a speech for roundtable discussion with CI. Oh, very nice.
Nice one, Puneet.
Exploring an RFP document and giving answers. Wow. They're used for general company research, generate quizzes for very nice. Wow, so we're seeing such a mix of using it in the sales motion as well as for teaching us about things. Competitive analysis, brilliant. Thanks, Anush. A skills matrix for SCs and to make the language positive. Wow, good one, Sandra. ChatGPT and pre-sales, creating my competition. So Richie, do you think that ChatGPT is going to replace us one day?
Objection handling, yeah. I've been using it for three-letter abbreviations. Sometimes, a customer will throw something out there, and all of a sudden I'm going like, no idea what that means. So just quickly, just like bang, 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 and then I get like a bunch of answers, potential. Then you kind of scroll through and go, yeah, I think they mean that, which is useful.
As a part of my role at Workday, I do a lot with integration. So I have to integrate different systems with Workday. And one of my classic uses of ChatGPT is how can Workday integrate with, insert product X or Y here. And ChatGPT would often answer that question very well. However, as the SE, I always have to go and double check the answer to make sure that firstly, there's documented case of that, but it really helps put me on the right track. So it really is helping us in our role in the selling motion. And as Sandra mentioned, demo scripts are pretty good too. Yeah, absolutely. So in the selling motion, as well as in the administrative and learning motion. So this is great. How we integrate the intelligence for efficiency versus seeing it as a threat.
Mm.
Absolutely. And this is what we're trying to do here in PreSales Collective. So hopefully a lot of people, I mean, even myself, I thought that I'd just be using ChatGPT mainly for just a bit of research and for the sales motion, but a lot of this is blowing my mind in terms of how we can use it to help better pre-sales in general. Yeah, tailoring demos, good one, Dipanshu. Have to drop off for a meeting. Really good one, Anush, thanks. Okay, this is really good. All right, really good to see. So what I'll do now is I'll hand over to Paul. Thanks for your updates and ideas. Paul, do you want to share your screen or do you want me to click through?
No, I'll do it. All right, perfect. So I'm just quickly share my screen so that we can carry on what we're doing next. I've been on Teams for a while, and so sometimes I forget how to use Zoom now. All right, you should be able to see my screen now. So thanks, Dave and Jonas, for that introduction. Now that as part of us relaunching PreSales Collective, some of you may be thinking like, what do you mean relaunching, right? Like, wasn't it already there? And Jonas has shared what we've been doing in the past. The relaunching effectively is where about 18 months ago, our HQ, and I call it HQ, actually took some of the control of what's happening in APJ back. And it made sense at the time, but we realized that they didn't necessarily understand what we were looking for in APJ. So now they've said, hey, like actually you guys are closer to the ground there. Why don't you kind of do this again? So hence why all this has come up. Now, as an idea, and we're always very open to ideas and suggestions. Please provide us some feedback as to what you think. But when Jonas, myself, and Dave, and some of the leaders were just chatting together about what this could look like and what would be too much or what would be too little, we came up with this as an idea. So you'll notice that we broke it down to 4 quarters. We started in April, although it's nearly the end of April now. We wanted to basically look at every quarter as 3 months, okay, which it is. So you'll notice that there's a pattern, and the pattern effectively says the first month of the quarter will be effectively a web-based connection and activity or engagement. The middle month, so May in this case, will be a face-to-face meetup. And then the third month, June, will be a web engagement as well. And then we repeat in Q3 and Q4. Now, you'll also see that, let me spend some time talking about the face-to-face meetups. So you noticed earlier that Jonas spoke a little bit about all the city leaders. And so that's effectively your role to actually facilitate the meetups, amongst other things, of course, but the major thing is to facilitate the meetups, encourage people to expand into different organizations that might be represented in that city. So, cities like Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, Singapore, Auckland, I didn't forget you, Stu, or, if we go higher up into Tokyo, we might have cities out across Southeast Asia. And I know some of you in Perth, you might be thinking, hey, we're a city too. all of those are right. If you'd like to volunteer to participate in that, we're always very open. Now, and you notice the key word that we've used so far is volunteer. So you all have day jobs, you all have things that you have to do. This is entirely voluntary. And this is also we're doing this purely because we love our jobs. We think it's probably one of the best jobs in tech, but we also care about each other. So in caring about each other, there's the giving part. So we give of our time, but there's also the receiving part. So there'll be time for us to learn from each other, but there's also time for us to take help from one another. So at some point, if I'm really busy doing something, I might, try to find someone who's volunteered to help in Melbourne to come and take over and to step in. So please don't look at this as I'm going to be signing up for life. I have to, make blood sacrifices and do this forever and ever. Not at all. This is effectively volunteer as much as you can, and then we'll do that. So let's talk a little bit about the meetups. Now, because it is entirely voluntary, this is all self-funded. So there's no special money tree that we can shake and suddenly money turns up and we do stuff. This is entire voluntary. So please, if you're a city leader, there's no expectation that you have to pay for stuff yourself, nothing like that at all. All of us who turn up, we kind of share the costs and pay our own way. If, let's just say, JR and Michelle want to do something really cool in the Queensland area, because I know JR doesn't live in Brisbane, he lives in a nicer part of Brisbane, greater Brisbane as I call it. If you want to do something in that area and you all come up with something cool and then it's all funded by the group in Brisbane that want to do stuff together, entirely fine. You go do that. So if you're from one of the local cities and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to do something, how can I do it? Please feel free to reach out to Jonas, Dave, or myself. Or if there's a city leader there already, reach out to them and get together and spend some time together. We left it as a whole month. So whatever time fits. So you might decide to do it on week number 1, week number 2, the local city leader can make that decision for that group and whatever makes sense. Once you volunteered, we'll actually get together and we'll discuss how we actually organize it, how do we publicize it and stuff like that. And also some tips and tricks from some of us who've been doing this for a while. I do like a little bit of a beverage, and that's why I end up at most of these events somehow. I don't know how it happens, but Jonas and I usually plan it so that we're always there together. So that's the face-to-face meetups. Now you'll also notice that there is the web section. Now for the web sections, here are just some ideas of what we thought might make really good presentations, and we've pre-filled them. The only one that is locked in is the session for June. Everything else is we actually use ChatGPT for ideas. So yeah, those are things that ChatGPT thought would be really useful for all of us SSEs. So we put some of those things in there. If you have better ideas, which I am sure you do, please, of course, share those as well. So you also notice that there's an SE Leaders Meetup. Jonas spoke about that. It's a little bit like what Sandra talked about, rather than a formalized training course, if you're an SE leader and you just want to chat to other people about some of the challenges you're facing. If you're interested in becoming an SE leader, we can also, potentially open it up to see if that's something that you'd like to discuss. And then finally, of course, you see the Elevate there that Jonas spoke about. All right, so let's move on. So we're bringing back our webinar series. So we need topics. I spoke about that already. We need facilitators. So usually there's always someone. Usually we do it like a panel, but if you think you've got a topic you just want to present to people, that's also fine. But usually we have a combination. We have some Q&A, etc., and so on. So yeah, we need facilitators. We also need speakers. Each of you have an area of expertise. You might be someone who's an architect that's really focused into security. So you might actually share some thoughts around, hey, for general SEs, how do you think about security? Something like that. Or you might have been a pre-sales leader for a long time, or you might be someone who's very experienced, like Ross, who's been on the call, that might actually say, hey, I've got this topic that I want to share with the wider group. So, anything like that, that you think you can help share to make us all better, to lift all of us together, then please do so. Now, we always are very clear. You work for your company. So that's the job. They pay you. Your loyalty and your privacy and what you speak about for the company should not be shared outside the work context. But here, this is our vocation. And so we share to elevate our skills, not share specific company type knowledge. Okay, so we leave you to do that. No one's expecting you to share that kind of stuff. And then lastly, of course, we need you, right? So if you'd like to volunteer, Dave has already shared his LinkedIn there. Jonas will do so shortly. Please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn if you'd like. I will ask of you and beg of you that sometimes, because it's voluntary on LinkedIn, I get quite a lot of LinkedIn posts, and so it's very hard for me to see them. So please persevere with me, ping me a couple times, or try one of the others. They're much better on LinkedIn than I am. Or you can email me, which I see more regularly on my personal email address, because that's the one I take with me everywhere, especially if I'm not working as well. So we'd love for you to think about whether you might want to volunteer, some ideas for topics. You might want to be a facilitator. You might want to be a speaker. You might want to be a city leader. All of those are fine. And you can kind of also specify the period that you want to volunteer for. So if you're going to say, hey, maybe for just this year, or maybe for the next 6 months, all cool, we'll work it out. Like I said, this is all voluntary. So let's actually get into this. We should kind of get to know each other a little bit. And this is like my little, Dave has already kind of teased everyone that goes like all Paul's questions came from ChatGPT. He is 100% correct. I will also say that I borrowed it from some other places. So if you would like to join us, and I would love for you to do that, I think we've got about 60 plus people on the call right now. Go to this website, pull out your phone. Here's the code. I will, so, have a look. I'll share this in a second. This is not just for funsies. There are prizes. Yeah. You want a cap. There's like a nice little cap and socks and stuff, which are the winners. I'll send out a pack to you. Here's the thing again, because I just saw Jonas tried to look at his QR code and I took it away. So have a look at that. That's fantastic. I'll share this again in a second, but I'm going to quickly just get out of presentation mode and go straight to my game. Boom, there we go. Oh, look at that. All of you have already joined. And I'm also going to start to share. Let me just quickly change screens a little bit so I can see everyone. Fantastic. All right. And I'll put up the volume, because one of the best things about Kahoot, and one of the worst things, is the music. Yeah. And if that's starting to annoy people, that's the purpose. All right, we'll give it another minute or so. Make sure everyone's on there. Before I start the game, you've got the code, you've got the QR code, and you're the pin. We'll give it 10 more seconds. Fantastic. Cool, we'll give it and that should be good. All right, let's get started. Mike is, no, Mike, sorry. Dave, there's like 43 people. Look at that. We could have used the other code. Let's get started. Bam. All right. So the first question will just be a taster question, no points, okay? I just wanna make sure you're familiar with the app and so on. So really simply, what's 1 + 1? Pick the right question. Pick the right one. Yep, good job. All right. Yep, so you can start to see on your phone to pick the right one. Here's another little tip. All right. The tip is, if it's a multi-choice, you have to hit submit. So you select 2 or 3 and then hit submit. Okay, that's the other tip. All right, boom. Let's see. All right, 39. I love that. Some people thought it was a window. Just for the record, when I was 6 or 7 years old, 1 + 1 = is actually a window. If you try to draw it out, yeah, totally a window. I can prove it. All right. Next. All right, now it's for realsies. All right, for realsies. Let's go. First question. All right, what is the size of the data set for ChatGPT? Come on. And all of these, you'll only have 10 seconds. The answer is 570 gigs. Yeah, you would have thought it would have been way more than that, but it's actually not that much. Yeah, which is
can't be right.
No. I ChatGPT'd it. If there was somebody who would know, it would be itself. All right, let's see who came first. Boom, Kelly. All right, good job. All right, next. Now it's not hard, you can catch them. So I've mixed this up, not all technical questions. You know, there's something for everyone. Who do you think is the godmother of both Elton John's sons? Come on. We got to be well-rounded as SEs, well-rounded. Lady Gaga. Yeah, I know. I was surprised too. I would have thought it'd be Madonna. Look at that, just like that. YK up there. Kelly still number 2. There's still a chance. Let's go. Next question. So a nice mixture. Which country created the fastest internet speed? 319 terabits per second. Terabits. Nuts. Yeah, Japan. Funnily enough, a lot of people, like Korea's got like one of the largest number of per capita uses. And of course, US, everyone thinks that they're probably at the top of the game. It's actually Japan. Yeah, brilliant. Look at that. Irene, good job. Yep, Jazz, JP. You can catch them, not too hard. Some of these questions are really way out there just to be able to change this up. So now a little bit of the, who was the first Western explorer to reach China? I put in questions all about Asia Pacific. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. Let's see. Your first guess is probably going to be right. Yep, it was Marco Polo. Yeah, that's it. Good job. Let's see now who else is up there. Irene still, no, yep. All right, good. Next. When did okay, so this is really for all the Aussies, but also a little bit of learning. So for those of you who are not Australian, Canberra is the capital city. It's not Sydney or it's not Melbourne. Yeah, that's right, 1911. Dave, did you get this right?
I got it right. It's the only one I've gotten right, but I got it right.
Dave is actually based in Canberra, so you would expect him to actually know this. Yeah, awesome. That's good job. Next, what did Elon Musk name his son? Now, come on. Yeah, I wish it was something. Let's see if you can guess which one it is. I never actually worked out how to pronounce this. Does anyone actually know? No idea. No idea how to pronounce it. What do you think his mom calls it? That's what, when you're yelling at them to say, you know, like, get back in for dinner. No idea.
Probably Billy.
Billy. All right, good job. Who's Anna? Anna? I don't know who that is, but make sure that if you're at the top at the end of this game, you got to let me know who you are so that we can send you stuff. Next, which was the second book in the Harry Potter series? Boom, come on. I have a little bit of something for everyone, so at least everyone gets a chance. Good job, Chamber of Secrets. That's right. That's right. This is the one where they had the little snake thing. The basilisk. There you go. Nice. Good job. 5 answers in a row. Still catchable. Still catchable. Next question. What is the second largest French-speaking city in the world? In the world. Here's a tip. Not Lyon. Yeah, Kinshasa. Funnily enough, you would have thought it was Montreal, but the actual population is actually smaller.
Unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm not going to make it easy for everyone.
Centellus is on the board.
Ah, look, Centellus, good job, good job. All right, let's go. The Hanging of Gardens of Babylon are located 50 kilometers south of which city? Which capital city? The word Babylon should give you an idea. The map should help out a little bit more. It's Baghdad. That's right. That's right. I'm trying to keep this mostly around. Oh, look at that, Centellus. Number 2.
Give me merch.
When was the first self-driving car created? Yeah, 1939. That's right. If you were trying to guess the outlier answers, they tend to be right. That's actually like, again, you know, you Google or ChatGPT this, and this was actually created using a bunch of magnets. So they magnetize the road to be able to keep it in line. So self-driving. All right, see you, Michelle. You can't let Centellus win, guys. Everyone got to get there. And by the way, he had no access to this before. I would never have let him see this. So keep in mind, you have got to select multiple selection and then hit submit here. Okay, don't forget. All right, here's some of the courses that you get to do for free. It's all on the website. Check it out if you haven't done it before. That's right. Okay, good job. Let's see. Boom, nice. So, yeah, that's right, Sandra. Sandra would absolutely know. All right, see, yeah, well, Stu, you're in it. Yeah, let's organize something for a meetup in Oakland.
Sounds great. These guys
in the Thai language. So if you guys come on, Jonas, you're in Bangkok right now.
Sawadee krap, has it before?
Come on, Jonas.
Kun Jonas, how many tones, Kun Jonas? 5. That's
No.
okay. 5. Did you get that right, Jonas?
No.
Oh man, shameful. You have to go out and ask them which country has the most number of living or spoken languages. So not things that have kind of been gone away and don't exist anymore. Right? Here's another really nice thing about that's all in our Asia Pacific region. Yeah, Papua New Guinea, right? Right near, very close to where we all live. If you kind of point in a certain direction, we'll all get there. Over 3,500, I believe. Hey, Angie, nice to see. All right, Sandra, at the top. Next, what type of food is pumpernickel? Very important. Pumpernickel. I put this question in there because we all baked during COVID, so I'm sure most of us will know this answer. Well, I hope you're right at the top now. You should have hit that really quickly. That's right, it's a kind of bread. Amazing kind of bread. Amazing kind of bread. Good. All right, Centella's back in the top 5. Nice. Sean Campbell, Xiaowei, Irene, Sandra still at the top. We can still catch them. There's still 9 questions or 11 questions. Sorry. Clearly. What is Sir Paul McCartney's middle name? Yeah, let's see if you know.
Paul.
Yeah, his name is Paul. His name is Paul. He uses his middle name, Paul. Actually, just like me, I also use my middle name. Paul is my middle name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's why Sir Paul and I are really the same person. Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, Sean, up there. Woohoo! Good job. Next, what kind of snack is chicharrón? By the way, awesome snack. You can find them in the Philippines and as well as many other places. But this was thinking about with Philippines. Yes, pork crackling. That's right, chicharróns. Lovely. Let's see. Yum, yum, yum. Definitely not good for the diet, but lovely to eat. Awesome. Let's go. Sandra's still at the top. No one's going to catch her, I'm sure. Which of these is the highest grossing movie ever? Still making money now. Yeah, it was Endgame. Yeah. Got to put something in there for all the superhero movies as well. Woo. All right, Nick, you're up. He's on a streak of 4.
Come catch me, Nick.
Which flower is the vanilla pod from? Ooh. Yeah. What kind of flower is it? Let's see if people know. So again, some people took up gardening. Orchids. That's right. It's a kind of orchid.
That's a little orchid.
One of the best places for vanilla pods, Madagascar. Yeah. All right, next. Oh, look at that, Irene, right at the top. Good job, good job. Which of the following is not a stage in the storytelling arc? We keep, as SEs, we keep talking about storytelling. Which of these is not one? That's right, I know. It was kind of a given, but I really want to talk about storytelling. So it's the beginning, there's a rising action. I mean, something happens, there's the climax, there's a really some critical moment, there's a falling action, and then of course, there's the resolution or the end. Yeah, very important to use that in when we use storytelling to in our demos. Yeah, always need to go beginning, introduce, arc, something exciting happens, climax, meaning like you've got some kind of exciting moment, and then you lull people into your resolution. Next, what was the first non-English film to win Best Picture at the Oscars? pretty sure everyone's gonna get this because it's like the most spoken about. Oh, okay. It was Parasite, first English, non-English speaking film to win Best Picture. That was probably the kicker. Best Picture at the Oscars from our Korean friends. Yay. All right, see you, Ross. Almost done. Irene's still at the top. We got the first top 3 prizes, so you can still catch them. Sean and Bryce, pretty close. 5 more. How many members are there in the South Korean mega boy band BTS? That's not BTS, by the way, in case you thought that. Yeah, it's 7. Okay. That's right. There's 7. Yeah. And if
This feels rigged.
If anyone can sing the song, they sing their most famous song, they get extra points. Jonas knows all the words to the songs.
I get my son to sing.
And dance, do the dance. All right. Next, how many movies does Bollywood make in a year? From our friends in the South Asia, how many does Bollywood make in a year? This is, of course, roughly, not an exact number. Yeah, about 1,000 a year. It's incredible. It might be more now, but like this was like just generally it's about 1,000 a year. Boom, Sandra back at the top. Nice. All right, true or false? There's only one. If you miss a PreSales Collective webinar, you've missed it for good. Come on, everyone should get this because you all know that if you really, really wanted to watch it again, it's certainly available on the website. Yeah, it is. So generally it's available on the website. If it's a webinar, then it will be on the website in recording mode. But there are some events that they don't record, but they're not really classes webinars, such as roundtables and so on. Those tend not to be recorded. Nice. Everyone should have gotten that. Most people, at least most people should have. What is the animal in the Firefox logo? Does anybody know? It's actually a red panda. Yeah. No, I know. Look at that.
Killing me, Paul. You're killing me.
Who would have thought? If there's someone that's going to play tricks on you guys, it would be me. It would be me, really. Yeah. All right, almost the last question now. Where did this sport originate from? I just thought this was hilarious. Just saw a great photo, decided to use it. Some of you who used this before, I actually kept this in there from our last game just because I thought it's hilarious. That's right, it's Finnish. Get it? It's Finnish.
That's a nice finish line.
All right, last question. And I think you can still catch the third spot. Multi-select. Select all the reasons why you should join the PreSales Collective. Come on. Yeah, they're all right, of course. So just basically how quickly could you hit the submit button? Fantastic. So with that, drum roll please. Nick in 3rd place. Yay.
Good job, Nick.
Sandra, 2nd place.
Well done.
And in 1st place,
Irene.
All right, so what I ask of you is each of you, Irene, Sandra, Nick, can you please send me an email with your details to paulbaptist@gmail.com, and I will basically be able to send you your stuff. Yay, awesome. Jonas, with that, I give it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul and Dave. Did you guys have fun?
Yep.
Yep. Awesome. Congrats to the winners. We are going to close up today's event. So like I said, thank you for all the presenters. Thank you for attending. Give us all your ideas. You are what makes the APJ community special. So I'd like to hear ideas. I've already gotten quite a few volunteers, so thank you for that. We'll reach out to you, and love the energy, love the passion. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.